you're good. Right, we're en route. Ooh, there's a sensor right there. I might, nah, so what, fuck it. Well, you're showing the people around Cork.
You're showing the people
Yeah.
around
What
Cork.
you think about Cork?
I think that Cork is a beautiful place. I think that it is destroyed from drugs.
Okay.
I think it's very sad because there's not enough help offered to people in Cork, and our city is in turmoil at the moment.
Okay.
It has been taken over by teenagers acting the bollocks, and fighting and stuff like that. And drugs is also a major thing in Cork. People are dying every day on the street, and they're housing foreign nationals. Now, I've no problem with foreign nationals. My stepfather's actually Turkish. My partner is Georgian. So I've no problem at all. But I think that when you've people dying on the street, we should be looking after our own first. They say an old expression, charity starts at home.
Exactly.
Charity starts at home, so they help our own people first, and I don't care who you help after that. I was watching a documentary the other night. There's at least 25,000 derelict houses in Cork. And including commercial buildings that they could transform into apartments, and they're derelict. They just won't. They won't do it. They're putting their money into other things. I suppose the politicians whining and dining and having nice lives, while you've the everyday average worker out breaking his back working, and can't afford rent, and then it's Cork is becoming a sad place. It is becoming a sad place.
And what's one thing that you think will fix Cork? One thing that you could implement that you think would fix Cork?
One thing I could implement that could fix Cork would be more support for homeless people, more support for drug addicts, more support because I actually have an addict in the family, you see. Very sad. The one thing that would fix Cork is if instead of putting their money into nice meals, wining and dining, nothing, I don't see what the money is actually going into, and they're getting loans off all different countries, billions of euro worth of debt. You've the taxpayers paying it, getting up Monday to Friday, breaking their back, can't affording their rent. Basically, they need to fix the most important thing is the properties here, and helping people with mental health and addiction. More help for people that are drug addicts and alcoholics, because there's not enough support there. Perfect. Normal people now that are actually that don't have a drug problem. Like I know girls that don't have a drug problem that are very quiet girls, and they're actually after ending up in homeless accommodation. Not even homeless accommodation, they're sleeping rough. They're sleeping rough in a place called the Simon. They're sleeping rough, and they've no drink or drug problem. They're just homeless. I know another boy, he has no drink or drug problem. He's just out of care. He's just out of care. Awful things happened. This child now, when he was younger, why he had to be put into foster care. Terrible things that you couldn't actually repeat. And he was in foster care. And when you turn 18 in this country, they're supposed to help you if you were in foster care with accommodation. And they have him down around the Simon community, which is full of drug addicts. And this is only an 18-year-old that has no experience with drugs. And they have him down living in a drug-fueled accommodation. Another young life, another 18-year-old that'll end up in hard drugs because they're housing the wrong people first.
Exactly.
We're the only country in Europe with no party opposing to foreign nationals coming in. They're not Garda vetting people. There's children being murdered by foreign nationals because they're not Garda vetting people. They don't know who they're bringing in. They're bringing in people. It could be a murderer, it could be a rapist. They're actually leaving them in without Garda vetting them. There's been loads of people have been killed raped. Remember the gentleman that went into the school up the country, killed killed a couple of children. It's terrible. Like, no matter what, everybody deserves to put their head down, have somewhere to put their head down at night time,
Exactly.
regardless of who you are or where you come from. Everyone deserves basic human rights. A shower, food, and a bed. Yeah, the government has no interest in its own people. As well with addiction, 92% of addicts have been through some serious trauma in their life, and there's no help with trauma when you're in addiction. They won't give you counselling services because they're saying, you're on drugs with counselling, so they can forget about their past, so they can move forward, so they can better themselves, so they can build up self-esteem again. It's just, it's crazy the way the city's after going.
It's
You
mental.
see, I'm city centre, so I see it all around me, and if you actually walked around and took it all in, you'd be horrified.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. I don't understand the system here. The system here is mind-blowing.
Yeah.
Like, I've suffered with my mental health since I've been about 11. That's when I used to cook quite bad and stuff like that. Yeah, and there was never support there. And look, I just think it's a very, very sad world when you've a boy that has been in foster care all his life, and the second he turns 18, they put him into a place where there is heroin and crack addicts, and he's never been exposed to anything like that in his life. People are dying every day on the street, and you hear nothing about it on the news. It's swept under the rug, and at the end of the day, people are still people. There's a reason why certain people's lives turn out the way they do.
Exactly.
It's not by choice people become addicts. Now, at the start, people try things, that is by choice, but as time goes on, it becomes a coping mechanism. So every time something in your life goes wrong, you're running to that because that's all you know.
Exactly.
That's all you know. You know nothing else. You know nothing else. That's your go-to for help in a crisis, because there's no support around for people, and it's mind-blowing that there's no talks been given in schools, and we actually have a heroin and crack pandemic on our hands.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And what's your name, by the way?
My name's Clarice O'Callaghan.
Thanks very much. And what's your